creates America's first ever national ID card system. Congress passed the Real ID Act in 2005 with virtually no debate. Yet the Real ID Act will change life fundamentally for everyday law-abiding Americans. Under the Real ID Act, a Real ID card could become required for everyday purposes for Americans. The federal government has already stated that it's not going to place any limits on when a Real ID card could be required by a private company or by your local or state government.
Your social security numbers or your account information or your billing.
My medical records.
When I'm buying.
Your ethnic background, your income.
Magazines, I'm thinking certain political affiliations.
Well, my sexual orientation, religious beliefs.
What you read, what you want to know about is personal.
What you do with your life should be your business. It shouldn't be anyone else's.
Really?
I don't approve of it.
I would hate it. It's disgusting. Pathetic.
I would say that's not cool.
I wouldn't feel so comfortable with that. I think I'd feel rather outraged. I don't think that's constitutional.
I had no idea. The Real ID Act, really, I have to write my senator and find out how they voted on that. I had no idea.
The harms are great for New Yorkers under the Real ID Act. It really does create a total surveillance society where the everyday activities of law-abiding Americans can be monitored by the government and even by the private sector. It increases dramatically the risk of identity theft, and it's going to cost New Yorkers hundreds of millions of dollars to implement, and this is all going to come from taxpayer money. New Yorkers can fight against the Real ID Act, and in fact, 21 states have already passed legislation rejecting the Real ID Act. And what we're hoping will happen in New York is that New York State will join this growing opposition to the Real ID Act. If anyone wants to learn more about the Real ID Act and how they can get involved in the movement against the Real ID Act in New York State, they should log on to www.nyclu.org/realid.